Mr. Agnew.
Thank you. We're talking about standards and rules for organic farms and farming. I'm very worried that the rapporteur still wants to bring in this idea that you can not have a holding that's part organic and part not organic. In the United Kingdom, holdings are larger than they are perhaps elsewhere in Europe, and organic farmers in the United Kingdom don't split the holdings just to cheat the system. They do it for one of two reasons. Either their farm is of different land types, different soil types, and they simply cannot farm organically on very heavy clay soil, so they abandon that to ordinary farming where they can control the weeds better with herbicides, and they concentrate their organic farming on the better, the grade 2 land. That's one reason why they do it. The other reason why they split their holdings is because they have burnt their fingers very badly over the last few years, putting, say, 400, 500 hectares all into organic crops, only to find the market has vanished and they have to sell that produce for ordinary prices, and they have lost a lot of money. If you insist on going down this route, Martin, you will give British organic farmers a choice: double or quit. And they won't double if it means losing money, and so they will quit the sector. The next point is about imports. If any organic consumer was to look himself in the mirror, he should say, should I be eating imported organic produce? I eat organic produce because I think it is sustainable. It isn't sustainable to import food from 5,000 miles away. So as long as we put on the country of origin, there shouldn't need to be any imports, and so the standards shouldn't be a problem. Finally, you want to have different standards for seeds. That's a code word for saying you want to have lower standards for seed. What are the various criteria you want to lower? Is it germination? Is it purity? Is it admixture of weed seeds? Or, as I say it, the elephant in the room, ergot? Can you please come clean on what you want to reduce the standards of? And bear in mind, once you have reduced those standards, we come across the problem of contamination the other way around. And whilst organic farmers say we don't want any terrible GM or chemicals contaminating our produce, perhaps ordinary farmers don't want lower grade organic seed contaminating theirs. Thank you.
I think it is fundamental, and it is our conviction within the Commission that the imported product should meet the same standards, the same rules, the same requirements as products produced within the EU. Our EU producers should find themselves in the same conditions as those which are applied to products coming from third countries. The EU is the only region in the world which is not working on the basis of a compliance system. And what we are proposing is that we would develop a system of equivalences between standards from other countries, and but more in terms of standards not so much on the basis of systems that have been used previously, because they can be a little too lax. Now, perhaps I could comment on the import rules. Now, I proposed that we would have regional criteria. Countries that are neighbouring countries that work at the same level as we do. I don't think we could accept saying that they would have different standards. But if we take Africa, for example, if we take Burkina Faso, I think there we couldn't say that they can only export to the EU if they meet our rules one-to-one. But this is why it's important that we tighten the control instruments, and that is why I would come back to what the Commission said. Now, the veterinary office has just been mentioned. Now, I don't see how we can achieve a harmonization within the 28 member states. Is already quite difficult. But cross-border trade, we don't know who's checking what. We don't know which rules apply in Romania and which rules apply in Portugal. It's difficult to get an overview of all of that. I mean, if a Commission, if there are proposals as to how this can be improved, we'd like to see them. Now, we've made a proposal. Now, we're talking about huge markets, and you can't say that this will be dealt with just by the veterinary office. What is important is that consumers have confidence, and that's really the key issue. Now, what we call it, whether it's a body, an office, that doesn't really matter. But we need to have this role. And transparency is also important. We need to close loopholes in the existing regulations. That's also a key issue. And so we need to look at that.